Ty Spiritual, and I'm back with another video, man. Simple. And as you guys, I am in a tree. For those that are new to this channel and didn't see my most recent videos, I'm in a tree right now. Pretty high off the ground. Pretty nice sized tree too. Speaking about Avatar, I'm in a tree. Anyways, let's get into what we have to talk about today. Avatar 2, The Way of Water, was released this past weekend and is out in theaters right now. Now, I did go and see this movie. I went to see this movie twice, actually. Oh, this is a non-spoiler review. This is a non-spoiler review. You do not have to worry about me spoiling anything regarding the movie in this review. I'm just going to speak very vaguely on what I think, how I felt, and also the comments will be non-spoiler as well, because I'm going to review every single comment before it gets posted. That way you guys can go and you can have discussions. No comment will contain a spoiler. All right. I'm going to give my rating for this movie at the end of this video, so make sure you guys stick around for that. And make sure you hit that like button, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and leave a comment. Okay, the last two Avatar videos have been doing really well, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed them because I enjoyed making them. All right, now let's get into it. Avatar 2, The Way of Water. Now, those that know me, and you know of me, I've been speaking of Avatar 2 for a long time. For a very long time, I've been speaking of this movie. Years I've been talking about this movie. It's going to be great. It's going to be this. It's going to be spiritually beautiful. And I went and saw it. And I have to tell you guys, I have to admit this. I'm going to admit this right now. Avatar 2, The Way of Water, blew my expectations through the roof. This movie exceeded my expectations. It exceeded them in every way possible. I know some of you guys might have thought I was going to say something negative, but no. This movie exceeded my expectations in every way possible. First, the visuals. I can't, and I tell people this. This is the best visual movie ever created. There's no movie on earth that has better visuals than Avatar 2. The 3D is something that's never been done before. Like I'm going to explain this to you guys. When you sit down and if people are wondering, go watch this movie in IMAX 3D high frame rate. IMAX 3D is the way you need to see Avatar 2, The Way of Water. All right. So when I sat down, I put on my glasses. This movie came on, and you can immediately see what they've been working on for so long. This movie, the depth that you can see on the Avatar's skin, it looks so real. It looks so real. This is not a spoiler, but there's rain in this movie. Okay, so obviously the avatars are going to get wet. The detail on their skin when they're wet, it's so crisp, it's so in depth, and it moves so smooth. And that leads me on to frame rate. I see some people saying that the high frame rate worries them, the high frame rate bothered them. It didn't bother me at all. Now, for those that don't know, this movie is in high frame rate, okay? But it's not entirely in high frame rate, meaning this. Sometimes it's going to speed way up and sometimes it's going to slow down. And for me, I could easily tell when it speeds up and when it slows down. I could easily tell that. It didn't bother me personally. It didn't give me a headache. I actually loved it because the scenes that happen in the movie, especially the ones in the water, when that frame rate speeds up, it just looks so crisp, so clear, and it just pulls you into the moment. Okay, I've been hearing jokes and people say, oh, it looks like a video game cutscene. First of all, for the people that say that, it just shows they know nothing about how movies work. They know nothing about frame rate because there's no video game that looks like Avatar. There's no video game that moves like that at such a frame rate. So people that say that, it's like they just see something and they just go with it because it doesn't look like a video game cutscene. People that say that, you need to research how movies are made and frame rate more, okay? But the visuals of this movie are a spectacle. They are a spectacle. I thought the first Avatar looked good. The first Avatar, and I mean this, guys. The first Avatar is my favorite movie of all time. It's still my favorite movie. But the first Avatar, it can hardly even compare to how good this one looks. Because you see, in the re-release of Avatar, the first Avatar that they did a few months ago, they added high frame rate in it, and it was okay. It worked. Wasn't the best thing, but you can clearly see the difference. In this movie, Avatar 2, when they added that high frame rate, it looks nothing like the first one, like the re-release. It looks nothing like that. It is absolutely jaw-dropping. It's breathtaking. It was times where I was watching this movie and I forgot that I was even in the theater. And I know many people may say that, but I mean that. And the IMAX theater I was in, it was packed. It's times where I watched this movie where I forgot I was even in the theater. I forgot I was even alive, because that's how much this movie pulled me into it. That's how much it, like, people talk about escapism. This movie is escapism. It pulls you into it. It does. So as far as visuals and a spectacle and a cinematic experience, this movie, A++++. Okay, no flaws. Now, the story. Let's move on to the story, because many people worry about the story. And is the story like the first one? Is it shallow? Listen, Avatar 2 is not a complex story. The first Avatar was not a complex story. None of these Avatar movies are going to be complex stories. That's just the truth, okay? But what I will say about the story, in comparison to the first one, this story focuses way more on character development. Way more on character development. It does. It develops the characters nicely, the protagonist nicely, the antagonist nicely. It does. And one antagonist of the movie, I'm not going to spoil anything, but they explain how that individual is there. I'll say that. They explained it, and it made sense. Okay? But all of Jake and Neytiri's children, Loak, I think that's how you say his name, Took, which is, I think Took might be my favorite. Natayam and Kiri. I care about all of them. I like all of the screen time they got. I think they were all developed pretty good. Some more than others, but you can't really focus. You can't really focus on everybody the same amount of time in a movie that has a 3-hour runtime. Despite that may sound like a long time, it's really not. When James Cameron had to put so much in this movie. So the character development for Jake and Neytiri's kids was nice. The Water Clan, I can't think of all their names, but I know the Sahik, which is the female spiritual leader of the clan for the Water Tribe, the Metakaina, Ronal. I love her. I love Ronal in this movie. I love her. And her, I can't think of his name, but her male, the Olowokton, which is the male leader of the tribe. He's badass, man. I love his design. I love Ronal and his connection in this movie, because this is not a spoiler, but I want you guys to pay attention how they communicate. Pay attention how they communicate. Pay attention how those two communicate in this movie. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Just pay attention, because they have an unspoken connection. That's all I'll say. Their children. I can't think of their daughter's name, but she's super pretty. She's super pretty. The scenes of her And this is not a spoiler because this was literally in the trailer. The scenes of her and Loak were just heartwarming. They were heartwarming. Okay, so as far if we're speaking about the story, character development in this movie is better. And again, like I told you, the story isn't way more complex than the first one. There is some repeating tropes. Okay, like meaning this. There's some directions that the first movie went that the second one goes as well. You know, they got to learn, you know, the way of water. You know, Jake in the first movie, he learned the way of the land, the way of the Omatakai people. He learned that. So there's some repeating tropes, but for me, it didn't really bother me. I seen some people say it kind of annoyed them, but it didn't really bother me. Okay. The human's motivation, the RDA's motivation in this movie, I feel like they could have touched on that, and that's one of the critiques I have. I feel like they could have touched on that just a little more, like just spent a little more time explaining that. But then again, I think this movie is like a midpoint to set up for the third movie, to like just create that bridge from the first one to the third, but it's still a complete movie in itself. Okay, so the story, to me, I like the story. I like the messages. I did. This is a family film. That's what I'll tell you guys. This is a family film. All right. There's a character in this movie for almost everyone. Okay, for almost everyone. All right. Now, moving on to the spiritual aspects of this movie, there is definitely spiritual things in this movie. Okay. And again, I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to spoil anybody about anything regarding, like, you know, what's going to happen. But just pay attention to the connection that they have with the fish, with the whales. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to the things that they're saying when they're teaching the way of the water. Pay attention to these things. There's a lot of spiritual symbolism in this movie. There's a lot. And one thing I'll say is this. The first time I watched the movie, it was hard to catch everything. It was hard. Even minor plot details, Easter eggs from the first Avatar, because it's like, it's so much to take in. You're blown away by the visuals. You're trying to pay attention to so many things, you're going to miss stuff. So when I rewatched it the second time, I picked up on this, I picked up on that. When I rewatched it the second time, and I mean this, when I rewatched it the second time, it's as if the moment it came on, it was like I never seen it before. It was like I never seen it before. Because, it's weird to describe, because obviously since I've seen it, you know, I know what's going to happen. I remember the big things, but it was like I was watching a movie and I was still on the edge of my seat, wondering what's coming next, even though I've already saw it. Like, there were people in the theaters. I seen a woman after the credits had rolled for this movie, she was just sitting there looking like depressed. And I seen somebody consoling her, because this movie is very deep. This movie is very touching, and it's going to tug at your emotions. It is. There's some, and the action in this movie, man. This is a action movie. This is a action movie. I will tell you guys that this is a action movie. The action is there. The final act, and I've seen many people speak of the final act of this movie, meaning like that final hour, it is insane. It is insane. The visuals, the action, the frame rate, the acting, it is jam-packed. All right. Now, this movie is 3 hours and 10 minutes. You're going to be there about around 3 hours, 15 or 20 minutes, depending on when you get there, credits, and, you know, being in line. Some people say they feel like the movie dragged. I didn't feel that. I didn't at all. And one thing I'll say about that, the first time I watched it, it doesn't start off in the water. Okay, I'll just tell you that. The movie doesn't start off in the water. So I was watching it, and, you know, they're going through, because they do it's going to give you a rundown of, you know, what happened in Avatar 1. This is not a spoiler, but it's going to give you, it's going to, you know, give you some backstory into the first Avatar, because some people may be seeing Avatar 2 before they seen 1. So it's going to give you some backstory on that. And I remember looking at my phone. I'm like, okay, you know, okay, we're to the water now. What the time looking like? Not that it's dragging, but I was just wondering, like, was it going by too fast? You get what I'm saying? But it didn't drag getting there. And once it got into the water, the pacing of this movie was fine to me. It was great to me. It was great. This movie, I wouldn't have minded if it was 3 hours and 30 minutes. That's just me. That's just me. I wouldn't have minded that. I did not feel the drag from this movie at all. If anything, I was just checking my phone to make sure, hey man, is it going to end too quick? Is it going to end too quick? That's what I was doing the first time. Okay, but the second time I watched it, the movie flew even by faster. It was crazy. The fastest 3 hours of my life. The movie just flew by, man. It flew by. Neytiri in this movie, Zoe Saldana, her acting is amazing. That's what I'll tell you guys. And she has some moments in this movie. Neytiri has some moments in this movie. Okay, Jake Sully, Sam Worthington, I think that's his actor's name. Absolutely amazing. I'm not gonna say the other things because I don't want to spoil anything, but the acting in this movie is great. Okay, it's great. I really love this movie. I really loved Avatar. The soundtrack, I've been listening to it over and over and over. It's some of the soundtrack in this movie. Some songs are just so beautiful. It's so beautiful. James Cameron really told a beautiful story in this movie. He really told that. And to me, this movie, Avatar 2, is better than the first one. I still like the first one more because I'm more connected to, as you guys can see, trees. I'm more connected to, you know, like the earth, like above water, you know. So that's just me. But as a film, Avatar 2, to me, it's better than the first one. And that's one of the things I was wondering about. Is this going to be better than the first one? Is this going to be better than the first one? Because everybody knows James Cameron has a good track record when it comes to sequels. Aliens, Terminator 2, he has a good track record when it comes to sequels. And he did not miss in Avatar 2, The Way of Water. He did not miss at all. And one more thing I want to touch on is this. The scenes with the whales, guys. The scenes with the whales, especially at night, when that bioluminescent light hits, if you see this in IMAX 3D, if you see this, when you see that frame rate just speed up in those scenes underwater, it's going to look, for especially for those that have never seen a movie in IMAX 3D at all, it's going to look amazing. It's going to look amazing. Okay, I saw the IMAX 3D that I went to was the world's tallest IMAX. I mean, this IMAX screen was huge in there. So I was when I'm watching the scenes of the whales underwater, it's just so much to look at. Like it's incredible. Okay, am I saying Avatar 2 is the perfect movie? No, I'm not saying it's the perfect movie. Obviously, there's room for improvement. Okay, but as a sequel and as a spiritual movie that took so long to make, for me, it lived up to the hype. It lived up to the hype. Okay, my score for Avatar 2 out of 10, The Way of Water, is a 10 out of 10 movie. For me, it's a 10 out of 10 movie. Okay, the first Avatar for me was a 10 out of 10. Like some people say, the story is this, the white savior complex. I mean, I just find it ironic how people like to harp on Avatar for that trope, especially in the second Avatar where he just left all his Earth self behind. People want to harp on Avatar about that trope and try to diminish what it did and the creativity. Like, James Cameron made an entire language just for this movie. There's so much lore in Avatar, it's insane. It's insane. Every plant has lore. Every animal has lore. Every Na'vi has lore. The trees has lore. All these things that he put into this movie, the language has lore. Okay? It's a story that's been done before. But every movie takes inspiration from somewhere. Every movie does. Okay? People speak of the white savior complex, but and a lot of people from, you know, the MCU fans harp on it for that, when almost every superhero in the MCU is a white person. Now, I don't have no problem with that. I don't even really watch superhero movies like that. But you talk about Jake Sully saving a clan, white savior complex, Superman, white guy, saves a whole damn planet. So what is that? You get what I'm saying? So the point of me saying that is this. You need to go watch this movie for yourself, okay? You can hear what people say, whether it's criticism or rather it's praise. Go watch the movie for yourself and see how you feel about it. Don't let negativity deter you from this movie. If you want to go see it, go see it. If you don't want to go see it, that's fine. And if you don't like this movie, that's fine as well. But I love this movie. I love Avatar 2. I've went to go see it twice, and I'm going to go see it again. Again. Okay? Remember, watch this movie in IMAX 3D. IMAX 3D. Find yourself an IMAX 3D cinema, go to it, and watch Avatar 2, The Way of Water. Okay? It's some good stuff in this movie, and that's about all I can say without going into spoilers. But again, I want to thank you guys all for watching this video. Make sure you hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button. I'm pretty sure I'm going to make more Avatar videos in the future. And let me know below what you guys think about the movie. Again, don't include spoilers. Don't include spoilers. Okay, this is a spoiler-free review. It's going to be a spoiler-free comment section. That way everybody can discuss. People that haven't seen it can get a little gauge of what they're going to get, you know? That's what this is going to be. Anyways, I loved Avatar 2. It lived up to the hype. The pacing in the movie is fine to me. The high frame rate did not bother me. This is visually, this is the best movie ever created. There's no 3D out like this movie. None. None. Not even what Avengers Endgame can compare. Not even what Avengers Endgame did visually can compare to this Avatar movie. It can't. It can't at all. It's a family film. You can take children to go see it, you know, and just buy in to the world. Buy into the world. Just let go and just watch this movie and have a cinematic experience. Okay? The first time I watched it, I was a little agitated, not because of the movie, but because I had a drink that had a lot of sugar in it, which is not healthy. And I drank it and I had to use the bathroom. It's a 3-hour movie. I had to use the bathroom. So I went, came back, I drank that drink, and not even 5 minutes later, I had to use the bathroom again. So I had to go again. So I'm missing little things out of the movie. So for those of you, hey, take you a water in there. Don't get those sugary, don't get a sugary drink. Take your water in there. It'll be way easier to hold that than the sugary drink. Okay? Anyways, thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this non-spoiler Avatar 2 review. I love this movie. And there's a song by Zoe Saldana in this movie, which is Neytiri. There's a song. I'm not going to tell you when it's going to appear. I'm not going to tell you. But there's a song that she sung in this movie that's absolutely beautiful to me. The song that the Weeknd made, Nothing Is Lost, it's great. This movie has touching moments. This movie has heartfelt moments. And no, I'm not going to say that. But just buy in. Just invest. Watch this movie for yourself and see how you feel about it. Anyways, thank you guys all for watching this video. Remember, we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. Tosh Spiritual signing out, bro. And if you want another video to watch, click that video that's popping up right there. And if you are new to the channel, click that subscribe button that's popping up about right there. Tosh Spiritual signing out, bro. And like the Navi saying Avatar, I see you. Until we meet again, simple.